Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are returning to a Let's Play of Rule the Waves 3. So, we have designed a couple of ships. It is now time to get to actually building them. So let's advance the time a little bit here, see what other things we've got. A sudden slump in the economy, that's not good. We can go for less budget and other things. Okay, if we're gonna get less budget, let's at least make sure that tensions are increasing, especially with China. We really want to get to war with them if we can. Just one more month until our design studies here are done, so let's deal with that. Couple of intelligence things, and including the fact that some of our aircrafts have poor reliability. That's not a good issue. That's not a good sign. But on the other hand, the light cruiser is ready to be built. Let's build at least one of them. We probably want to get to be building more of them, and the same is going to be true for the carrier. So let's do just exactly that. My apologies here for the noise in the background. And there we go. So now these two things are building. That is costing us another 4.4 million per month, which really we don't have. We only have 3 million in losses. So that's not really great. Why do you actually have... Oh no, that's just the carrier. That makes sense. Nevertheless, that is an issue. We're going to advance the time here still and see what we can do in the time as it goes on. We could mothball a couple more fleets, but the tension with China is so high that war might break out, and it's always a little bit of a downer to get that. That was just a notification that we are seeing some things in ship design, but that's not necessarily enough. Right. I think getting the carrier is going to be more important than getting the battleship quickly, so let's do that. But we're going to keep all of these ships here in the building tree. Enhanced explosive filler would be nice to get, but we haven't gotten that yet. So for now, it's just advancing the time. Oh, but there's a research breakthrough: naval aviation heavier than air, sea rescue. We can do that. It would improve pilot survival and mitigate experience losses. No, it does actually do that, so that's lovely to see. The question is, do we want to institute that? And the big issue is, it would cost us a lot of maintenance in terms of aircraft, and aircrafts are incredibly expensive to maintain. That is costing us 2.4 million at the moment. Now here we've got an event where a new naval patrol aircraft is being propositioned by the Nakajima Natsan company, or that's the type of the aircraft. It's slightly faster in cruise speed, that's good, and our existing one is pretty old too, and it has poor reliability. So it would be great to get this guy. He's faster, he has better range across the board, light, medium or heavy loadouts, and the loadouts seem to be the same. So honestly, I think this is pretty good. We are going to accept that in service, and there's no downside really to doing that. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue to do that. More funding to the Navy, also a very good idea. Let's make sure that we are using that. Many officers seem to have the impression that Captain Toyota of Katori is rather too cautious and weak-willed. Having him dismissed would encourage more other things. Okay, yeah, we're going to do that. And we are getting better light AA effectiveness at 20mm autocannons. That's lovely to see. And we are getting the new fighters. So the event that we saw previously, that is just when you get a random proposal by a private company. But a couple of turns ago, we actually asked the private sector to come up with another fighter design, and this is what they came up with. This is the one that we have from 1931. This is from 1935. Max speed goes up ever so slightly, just 10 knots, I guess, and cruise speed only by 5 knots. That's not a lot, so not great. On the other hand, even the range has dropped. Oh my. On the other hand, we have poor reliability, so I think it's a good idea to replace our fighters, but with what? I think this is probably the best. It's not the best speed, but it has slightly better toughness than the other guys. Maneuverability is the same, firepower is the same as well. So honestly, not a great improvement. In fact, it has even less maneuverability, but it's slightly faster, and it might not be poor reliability. We don't know the reliability of new aircraft, but still. Nevertheless, it's always a good idea to have new aircrafts in development, so that was just the fighter. Now these aircrafts will need around 7 more turns to be fully developed into mass production, and at that point we can declare the old one obsolete and make that our primary thing. That being said, let's look at some of the other aircraft here and whether we should be changing anything. So the naval patrol aircraft, we've dealt with that somewhat by the private sector. I think the float planes would be good. They also have poor reliability. So yeah, I think a new float plane would be a good idea. What do float planes need? I think they need range. I think they need reliability. Let's go for these two things. I think that's a good idea. We might resume the construction on the battleship. Maybe we're going to get a couple of positive events, but here's one of the things that's actually new in this game, and that is our ships need commanders. We just had the event there that this guy was dismissed, so that means we now can assign a new commander to this thing. And I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things about the new Rule the Waves version here that we have. But that is going to wait a moment. So these are all the guys that we could assign to that. And I think we're going to pick someone who's above average. You can't pick everyone for every post, but this guy is currently commanding a heavy cruiser, and he's going to consider that as an actual promotion because he's now commanding a battleship. And then to get to the heavy cruiser, I think we're simply going to assign someone who's average. That's good enough for now, and that's great. Oh, look at this guy, brilliant and gunnery expert. If we can promote him over time, that would be super nice. But I don't think we can do that manually, so he's gonna get advanced over time. Right. Yeah, I think that's good. Right, let's take the turn here. And, oh yeah, I was about to talk about what I really like this. So, idea of a gunnery competition, what can we do here? So, increase morale. Substantially increase maintenance cost this month. And I don't see what it does. But you know what? Let's do that. Because it's just for a month, and I would really like to find out what's going on. Shishima wins the cup. I don't see what that did. Motorboat torpedo squadrons, that's good to see. We could actually build one of these guys. You know what? I think that would be fun. Let's hold the construction on the Yashima again due to budget constraints. And let's actually go to coastal fortifications, because we could be building a motor torpedo squadron in Southeast Asia, which I think I need to double check that. Right, so let's look at the map and see where we can build stuff. So our stuff down here, I think Formosa is probably going to be the most hard-pressed one. We can think about the ranges here, and this is the interface is not necessarily that lovely, but yeah, I think honestly Formosa is probably going to be the best. So Taiwan, yeah. We're going to build a motor torpedo boat squadron here. It's going to take 6 months. It's going to cost us a little bit, and after that it's going to cost us some maintenance, but it's not that expensive, and I find these guys can be helpful in various situations, so I think that is nice. We could also be building one in the Marshall Islands. I guess that represents Truk, and honestly I think I like that idea too. So let's go for the Marshall Islands. Where are you? There you are, guys. Let's build one there. Don't have any positions up here. I think we're always going to be strong enough in Northeast Asia, so that should be okay too. And the Prime Minister is meddling again. Sailing regatta competition. Strengthen and lessen tensions, but the money will be taken out of the naval budget. Prestige up, tensions down. No, honestly, we are a little bit hard pressed on money as well, but that's okay. Here's another research breakthrough. We now have torpedo technology to allow centerline torpedoes of ships up to 3,500 tons. That is good. And we could take a look here at, for example, this ship. So this ship currently has torpedo tubes, one on each side, so 2 torpedoes in total. That's of course a little bit rubbish, because these guys can only fire a single torpedo towards either side, and that's pretty unlikely to hit. What we could do instead is get a single one in the middle, which would weigh the same as these 2 guys, but which would now be able to fire in either direction from a single mount. So that's already kind of the same or better. as the current setup. Of course, that doesn't warrant a refit for now, so we're going to ignore that, but it does allow us to think about future light cruisers or even destroyers. 3,400 tons is pretty light for a light cruiser, honestly. That can be a later destroyer. So, yeah. Right, and I should really be getting to the next thing. Oh, another research breakthrough. This time we are only getting one of the gradual ones. So whenever we build a new or design a new ship, there's going to be a weight saving on the hulls, on the tonnage that you spend on the hull. 1% doesn't sound much, but it does add up over time. Right, here's one of the very nice features that we have got, and that is this little button down here, Division Editor. When you click that, initially there's nothing at all, but we can define a new division. For example, let's say we're going to design the first battle division. What you can do is assign up to 5 ships of the appropriate type to that division. In our case, we're going to pick our best ships, and that is going to be the Sagami class. So our 2 Sagami classes can be assigned to that, and they now are a division. And that sounds like such a small change, because what doesn't division actually do? But it is big, and the reason it's big is that it does allow you to control which ships come into battle at any given time, and that is something that I always, and I'm venting a little bit my anger here, missed at Rule the Waves 2. In Rule the Waves 2, you're on that weird position that sometimes you actually fight battles. We haven't seen that yet, but that's cool. And you design ships and build up the fleet, and that's cool too. So you've got that strategic layer of building ships, you've got that tactical layer of actually controlling ships, but what you were always missing was that operational level where you design on the missions that your ships are actually executing and the way that forces work together. So it was always very frustrating, because you had that brilliant idea of building that integrated fleet that was really that well-oiled machine where everything would work very well together and support each other, and then the AI would decide that you've got a battle now and you're missing your AA cruisers and it's just not working the way you intend. Now you've got a lot more control over that operational layer, and I just love that change in Rule of the Waves. So, sorry about that little rant there. That was really just my my thinking on that. So let's assign a commander to that. Oh, we can't. That's unfortunate, and that is going to happen at a later stage. Now, what we can do, though, is think about whether we want to add any further ships here. And I think we do. So let's add more ships to that, and that is going to be the Mikasa class. All of the Mikasa classes are also going to be added to that, although they are so much slower. Yeah, the Sagami classes are really lovely. I really like these ships. All of the other ones are a little bit rubbish, so what we're going to do is we're going to do another battle division here. And for that second division, we are going to assign everyone else. Does that match up? No, I think it's one ship too many. And it's probably going to tell us that that is the case. Yeah, so in fact we're going to need 3 divisions. We don't need to technically assign one to everything, but you know what, we might as well. So you guys, we're going to move you to another division, and that is the 3rd one, and you as well. Move ship to another one, that is the 3rd one. It doesn't really matter whether they are all in one, but of course it makes sense to group similar classes into one, because they've got similar speeds, similar capabilities, similar ranges at which they can engage. So it makes sense to control them in the battle in a similar fashion. Now that's cool, but that doesn't tell you a lot yet. We must assign commanders to that. We can't do that for now because we haven't got them promoted. That's going to be solved in a second. But here's the really important bit. We can also, of course, design other groups. We're, of course, going to design a carrier group. Let's do that real quick, because that's going to be super quick, because we only have 2 carriers. There we go. But more importantly, we can, for example, design a light cruiser squadron, first light cruiser. Who's going to be in that? We haven't really taken an in-depth look at our light cruisers, but I suppose the Jima class, Yaijama class, don't know how you pronounce that. These guys seem to be pretty good, 6-inch guns, and they are, I think, pretty good and can probably stand in battle, right? So let's get you guys and add ships to that, and that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go, all of the same class. Again, pretty similar procedure. Can we assign a guy to you? Yeah, we can. That's lovely. Probably someone who is at least average, I want to say. Yeah, let's grab you. You're going to be there. And what we can do is set the role for these guys. For example, we can tell you to screen for the first battle division. And that means that as long as these guys are together, it's very likely that you're going to have both of these guys in a similar battle at a similar time. And that I find extremely helpful. That is so nice. And the same is going to be true for stuff like destroyers, where we again haven't really looked at in depth what we've got, but I suppose the Matsukaze class are going to be our most modern ones. Yeah, well, some of the Akikaze are also pretty alright, I suppose. Yeah, but these guys have 5-inch guns. So yeah, let's just add them. Matsukaze, that's what I meant, right? Just need to find them. There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For destroyers, you can actually pick 6, but since we only have 5 of this class, that's going to be fine too. And again, we can set the role for these guys and, for example, tell them to support rather than screen the first battle division. So that means they stay a little bit closer, but if push comes to shove, they would be able to get into there and support our guys, for example, by making a torpedo run or something similar. You can get a lot of guys that would be that we could assign to you. I'm going to grab you because you're just average, and that works out for me. Right, and then we need to assign people here. Let's grab someone who's working at well, let's just pick a question mark here. And it's going to become apparent over time whether these guys are actually going to be competent or not. And there's a slight downside because you can't remove people easily. That is going to cost you prestige, but we just need to tank that. Right, the other nice bit is if we now go ahead and, for example, select the division of these guys, select division of selected ship, it will select these guys and everyone who's connected to that. And that means we can then move these guys very easily between areas, and it's just, you're building a fleet, you're not just building ships anymore. I think that is really what I'm trying to say, and that is really one of the things that I love in this iteration of the game. By the way, you can see here which division ships are assigned to, and I'm actually not sure why you guys are, for example, not assigned to any division. So let's assign you to the 3rd Battle Division. Yeah, there we go. That's lovely. Of course, I'm going to do that off screen a little bit and just set up a couple of squadrons here in sort of canonic fashion, I guess, and make sure that we've got them all set up nicely. For now, I say thank you very much for watching. Do let me know what you think of this new feature and whether it's something that you were looking for. To me, it was always one of the things that was most frustrating, even more than the graphics, even more than anything else about Rule the Waves, that you hadn't had that control. And I'm super psyched that you've now got that. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Do leave a like, and I'll see you around next time.